Hello, this is the TradeSite Forex Market Preview and International Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, January 29th, 2017, wrapping up the month of January already and ending on Friday, the 3rd of February. Here is a look at the dollar index daily chart. It was not a very exciting week. Monday was the only day with some real movement, and that's it. I mean, really, the currencies in general have been flat. Here's a look at the euro dollar, which is basically the inverse of the dollar as usual. Here's the pound, which did rise a little bit this week. Australian dollar didn't do much here. Pound yen rallied up a bit to a static trend line. That's the green line there. Euro dollar is basing still sideways, has been for 2 months. Pound Swiss also not really going anywhere. New Zealand dollar. This thing's been in a horrible range for better part of 8 months, I would say. Let's take a look at the let's take a look at the intra-week action. So this would be right here, 30-minute candles. Euro dollar high to low is only 110 pips. It's the least I've seen in a while. Remember, euro usually trades 125, 130 pips per day on average. So 110 for the week is pretty bad. That explains everything. Pound dollar is a little bit better if you go back to Friday's open, which is right there. High to low of the week's about 250 pips. So there's a little more movement in the pound, but even there we had a couple of really slow days. We got stopped out of some stuff. All right, let's take a look at the economic data since there's not much else to focus on here. See what we've got coming out this week and try to get ourselves a roadmap. Sunday, trade balance out of New Zealand, retail sales out of Japan. China's on bank holiday. Monday, Spanish flash GDP, German preliminary CPI, Italian 10-year bond auction. In the U.S., we've got personal income and spending along with the core PCE price index, plus pending home sales. Then Monday night, visitor arrivals out of New Zealand, unemployment rate and household spending, and industrial production out of Japan. We've got China still on bank holiday for the second day of the week. Consumer confidence out of the UK, business confidence and private sector credit out of Australia at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time Monday night. Bank of Japan has their rate announcement Monday going into Tuesday. Housing starts out of Japan, and then the press conference from the Bank of Japan. German retail sales, French consumer spending, and preliminary CPI, Spanish flash CPI, German unemployment, Italian monthly unemployment, UK net lending to individuals and their mortgage approvals, Europe's CPI flash estimate, preliminary flash GDP, and unemployment rate, 10-year bond auction out of the UK. Canada releases their GDP, RMPI, and IPPI all at once on Tuesday morning. Here in the U.S., then we have the Employment Cost Index. We've got the S&P Composite Housing Price Index. We've got the Chicago PMI and the Consumer Confidence at the same time. Jump to Tuesday evening, New Zealand's Unemployment Rate and Labor Cost Index, Australia's AIG Manufacturing Index. China's still on a bank holiday. Final manufacturing PMI out of Japan and the same out of China, even though they're on holiday. Australia commodity prices. Nationwide housing price index out of the UK. This is Wednesday early here in the US. Spanish manufacturing PMI in Europe. Manufacturing PMI out of Switzerland. Same out of Italy, France, Germany, the broad European sector, and then the UK. EU economic forecasts. Got the ADP non-farm employment change here in the US. Got final manufacturing PMI, ISM manufacturing PMI. Construction spending here in the U.S. along with crude oil inventories, total vehicle sales, Fed announcement. We got a 2-day Fed meeting this week. Tuesday going into Wednesday, so we'll be half size ahead of Wednesday and not expect much ahead of that announcement. Don't know that they're going to do anything at this meeting. China, again on bank holiday. They got the whole week off, evidently. Building approvals out of Australia along with trade balance. 10-year bond auction out of Japan. Consumer confidence out of Japan, Spanish unemployment, Swiss retail sales, ECB economic bulletin out of Europe, construction PMI out of the UK, PPI out of Europe, and the Spanish and French 10-year bond auctions. Got a rate announcement out of the Bank of England, so we've got the US rate and then the Bank of England. We had Japan earlier in the week. Don't forget a lot of rate announcements this week then. Challenge of job cuts here in the US, unemployment claims, non-farm productivity, unit labor costs, tip economic optimism number, natty gas. Australia's got the AIG Services Index. New Zealand's got the commodity prices. Then rate announcement out of Bank of Australia. China's Caixin Manufacturing PMI, Spanish Services PMI, Italian Services PMI. Same out of France, Germany, the broad European sector, and then the UK. Preliminary CPI out of Europe and retail sales. And then we've got the unemployment rate here in the US. So another one would be half size ahead of, separate from the Fed meeting. Final services PMI, factory orders, non-manufacturing PMI here in the U.S. So it's a pretty lot. There's a lot of data. A heavy week for data. A lot of rate announcements from different banks around the world. That should be interesting to see some of their statements. And then the unemployment rate here at the end of the week after we just had the first look at GDP last week. So could be a very busy week. And I would just say the low will be ahead of the Fed announcement probably. Hopefully we get some action. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week here at TradeSafe.